Alright, what's going on, y'all? Today I wanted to speak about Andre Ward. I was Someone requested for me to do this video. Okay, one of my subscribers, one of my Twitter followers requested for me to do this video. Just gonna give you my general thoughts on Andre Ward, how I feel about him as a fighter, and give you my thoughts on his legal situation and his career and stuff like that. My stance on Andre Ward, he's like one of my top 10 favorite active fighters. Okay, I think he's one of the few fighters that I like. One of the few, and when I say few, I mean very few. I mean, maybe there's 5 fighters today that I think would be dominant in any era. Okay, I think Andre Ward is that good. I think in any era he could run with the best. Okay, I think he's that good. His legal issues, it came around at a bad time. He had sustained an injury where he was out for a while. Okay, he fought Chad Dawson. He was gone for a while, and then he came back from his injury to fight Edwin Rodriguez, and then the legal issue started. Okay, now what most people don't know is that the problems he has with his promoter, Dan Goossen, okay, this is not keeping him away from fighting. Okay, he can actually still fight at any given time. As long as him and another fighter negotiate a deal to fight, it can happen. All right, the legal issues that he has with his promoter has nothing to do with him not fighting right now. Okay, it's a part of it because he obviously wants to get out of his contract. What I feel about that, I understand him. I mean, the guy is a man of his morals. He's about his family. He's about his business. We as the fans sometimes get caught up in being a fan. And you got to realize that these fighters that we like, they have a family, they have lives of their own. Financially, they have lives. They want to perform for us, but boxing is their career, it's their job. It's their health. This is what they do for a living. And we tend to forget, and even I do. I make jokes. You guys follow me on Twitter. I make jokes when I see Andre Ward commentating. I did last night when he was commentating for the Brandon Rios-Diego Chavez fight. I make jokes all the time. Andre Ward is going to retire, or he's retired, or we're never going to see him fight again. I make jokes like that, but in reality, I understand where he's coming from. Okay, the man is about his business, and he has something going on with Dan Goossen and his other promoter. Basically, these guys came in together, and Dan Goossen is pocketing all of the money, and the other promoter is not getting paid for it. And from what he's saying, from what Andre Ward is saying, I understand where he's coming from. Morally, he doesn't think it's right, and he's fighting and taking fights, and Dan Goossen is getting paid, and this other guy is not getting paid, where they agreed that it was going to work out between the three of them, or the people involved, and Dan Goossen is taking the money. I mean, Andre Ward is getting paid obviously for his fights, but it didn't work. That's not the way that it was planned from the beginning. Okay, Dan Goossen is not his sole promoter, and I understand where Andre Ward is. Andre Ward, sometimes a lot of fighters, most fighters, they just want to get paid. They don't care about the situation. They just want to get paid. They want to fight, and that's it. Andre Ward is thinking long term, and unfortunately, it came at the time where he just came off a shoulder injury. All right, he had surgery, and we didn't see him fight for a long time. He comes back, gets a fight, everyone excited, the momentum is there again, and now he has these legal issues going on. And while this is going on, he's not getting offered any fights. His promoter is probably not really trying his best to get him a fight, because they're going through all these things with court. So I totally understand where Andre Ward is coming from. And as a fan, we look at it on the outside like we just want to see Ward fight. Why is Ward not fighting? And unfortunately, you know, a lot of boxers go through this, but unfortunately for him, he's one of the best fighters. A lot of people consider him to be top 3 pound for pound, and have been for years. And unfortunately, he's the one that's going through this. You know, it's not an average everyday fighter. You know, this is not. I'm not gonna name any fighters, but it's one of the top fighters that's going through this, and people want to see. There's a high demand to see Andre Ward fight, and it's not happening. Okay. Now moving on from that, there's other fighters that people have been mentioning. We have Golovkin, we have Chavez Jr. Okay, we have Fraj, we have fighters at 175. The situation with Golovkin is this, okay, and everybody goes back and forth with this. All right, I see people say things like Golovkin doesn't want to fight Ward and rather fight a Chavez Jr. or a Fraj instead, because these guys get more exposure. Okay, I read an article, you know, like recently. Golovkin's promoter said he would rather have a fight with Fraj or Chavez Jr. because Fraj just sold 80,000 seats in Wembley, and Chavez Jr. has been a pay-per-view fighter before. All right, well, this is the deal. Okay, I'll admit that Ward has not been on. We all know Ward has not been on HBO. I mean, pay-per-view. I'm sorry. Ward has not been a pay-per-view draw. Okay, but you gotta understand, a lot of these fighters today that are on pay-per-view, they're on pay-per-view because of the guy that they're facing. It's not just solely them. Chavez Jr. is not a steady pay-per-view fighter. He's been on pay-per-view before. He's been on pay-per-view to fight Sergio Martinez, but they made that fight exclusively a pay-per-view fight because of who he was facing. They didn't have. Chavez Jr. is now on a star level where he can fight whoever and be on pay-per-view every single time. Okay, Mayweather could do that. Pacquiao could do that. Chavez Jr. can't do that. Okay, Miguel Cotto can't do that. Not every fight he gets in is going to be a pay-per-view. It depends on who it is. It's not going to be on pay-per-view if he fought Delvin Rodriguez. Okay, Austin Trout. It's not going to be a pay-per-view. It depends on who he's fighting. Okay, it depends. All right, Canelo is now a pay-per-view draw until he loses again. Okay, or maybe he still will be. But there's very few fighters that are always going to be on pay-per-view. There's been plenty of fighters that's been on pay-per-view before. Okay, if Andre Ward, all right, who gets 2 million viewers every time he fights on HBO or whatever, all right, if they set him up with the right opponent, okay, a fighter that people really want to see him fight, maybe they'll have it on a pay-per-view. But as long as he's fighting, you know, Edwin Rodriguez of the world, not dissing him, but it's not going to go to pay-per-view. Okay, the reason why Fraj and all of the fighters that he fought on the Super 6 tournament, because back then Andre Ward wasn't a big star. Now that he beat all of those guys, if he fights Fraj today, it could be at Wembley, or it could possibly be on pay-per-view. Okay, so all of this exposure stuff, I understand where it's coming from, where Golovkin is coming from, but just imagine the exposure you're gonna get from there on if you're the first to beat Andre Ward. If you're the first to beat Andre Ward today, something that no one has came close to doing, you know how many viewers and fans will turn into your direction? But no one is ever gonna beat Andre Ward if they never try to, if they never pursue to fight him. Golovkin wants to fight Chavez Jr. Fraj wants to fight Chavez Jr. All of these guys are going towards the fighter, the easiest fight, where they can get paid the most. They want to look good against Chavez Jr. when Sergio Martinez already proved how not good he really is. And I'm not dissing Chavez Jr. And I'd love to see the Golovkin fight. But let's be realistic here. There's a reason why fighters want to pick Chavez Jr. And it's not just because of exposure. It's not only solely because of that. People don't want to fight Ward because it's a tough fight. That's the reality. It's a tough fight. He hasn't lost. He hasn't come close to losing. Okay? And his style is not a fan-friendly style. Like, some people will love it, and then it's like a love and hate type of style. He's not the most explosive. He's very talented, but he's not the most explosive fighter. He doesn't have the big punching power. Okay? He's not flamboyant like Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is very talented. He doesn't have a lot of punching power, but the difference between the two of them is that Floyd is a lot more flamboyant. He knows how to put it. He knows how to make a fight or to sell a fight. He can sell you a fight. No one cares about the Maidana rematch, but all of the stuff leading up to it, and the trash talk and the pushing the shove, Andre Ward he doesn't do any of that stuff. All right, so you guys gotta understand. Andre Ward wants to fight, but he cares about his business. That's rare today. You know, you got guys like Brandon Rios that keeps jumping into the ring, losing, coming off the losses, and he'll jump into the ring with another big puncher. He'll continue to do that. He doesn't care. All right, he doesn't care about his health. He's getting punched in the face constantly by big punchers. Okay, you got guys like Gabriel Rosado. We know that he has a serious bad cut that opens up with one punch every time he fights, and he keeps fighting top fighters. When he was coming back against Peter Quillin, no one wanted that fight to be stopped. We don't care about his health. We just want to see a good fight, and then we go and turn and go to sleep, and that's the end of it. We're not affected at all unless we put money up for the fight. We're never affected. We watch the fight and we go to sleep. Andre Ward, these guys have families. They have their own future. He figures, if I get out of this contract situation now, I can move on for the rest of my career. Sometimes this happens with fighting. Who knows? Maybe he'll get with another promoter and things go sour in some way. But the man actually cares about what's going on between his promoter and his other promoter. He cares about it. He cares. He knows we as the fans want to see him fight, but he has his own livelihood to worry about. He comes first before us, unfortunately, because us as fans, we just want to see him fight. But we have our jobs, we have our careers. How much are we willing to put up for our own jobs, our career, our house, whatever, you know? So I understand where he's coming from. I mean, of course, I want to see him jump in the ring. But he's saying that no one is bringing any offers. And I just told you why. I know why. Guys like Golovkin rather fight Chavez Jr., okay? Guys like Froch in his division want to fight Chavez Jr. Okay, well, why don't he move up? Well, he doesn't want to move up. He doesn't want to move up. Golovkin doesn't want to move up neither, but he's willing to do it. I'm sure if Andre Ward was offered something, he would move up, but no one at 175 is calling him out neither. He'd been called Bernard Hopkins out, I don't know how long ago. He been did that. He could move up and fight Kovalev and everything, but he's not getting any offers. Now, it's easy to just think that he's being stubborn by sticking at 168, but is it really being stubborn by doing what he wants to do? You know, it's easy to view it that way, but in reality, he's being smart. He set a certain standard for himself, and he's sticking to it. I can't blame him for that. As much as I want to see him fight, I can't blame him for doing that. All right, so that's my thoughts on Andre Ward. Let me know what you guys think. I know you Golovkin fans are just going to come in here and make excuses and whatever. But let me know what you guys think and subscribe to the channel.